It's Tuesday, January 6th. Today on Your Morning Atlantic. Bundle up. The cold weather continues in our region today. Your top news headlines just ahead.
And the latest on the U.S. government's capture of Venezuela's president and his wife. Nicolas Maduro made a court appearance in New York yesterday, and we'll speak with Dalhousie University's Robert Hewish about what this could mean for geopolitical impact.
Plus, the power of guilt. We'll speak with author and psychology professor Dr. Chris Moore about his new book and find out how a little guilt can be a good thing. All that and more coming up on the Tuesday edition of CTV's Your Morning Atlantic.
Good morning to you. It's Tuesday, January 6th. So glad you can join us. 6:01. We have Suzette Belliveau joining us today in the Weather Center.
Hello, friends.
Hello. Great to have you in. Happy New Year, Suzette.
Happy New Year to both of you. Nice to be here. Certainly a chilly start to the day. A lot of us had to start our cars early.
We sure did. And Callum, who's in for one more day. Amanda gets back tomorrow. You have the remote starting system. Tell us about those delights.
I could not recommend it more. If you can make it work, if your car is capable and you can swing it, highly recommend, because if you just start that thing 10 minutes before you're ready to head out the door, in a case like this morning, the windshield was defrosted. It was all warmed up when you get in, so it's a game changer.
A dream for sure. I do not have that feature.
Best investment ever.
You have that too?
Yeah, I have it too. I got it when I bought it, or I had it installed when I bought my car. I think my car's 8 years old now, but no regrets. Best $500 I ever spent.
Yeah. Next Christmas, maybe Santa will bring that. Okay, so it is really cold. Just give us some details on what that actually
So super cold this morning, as we mentioned. Even flurries, light flurries on the drive into work this morning. Here's a live look at Truro right now. You can see some of those light flurries falling throughout the day, but some good news. It's really cold this morning, but that temperature and the wind chill is going to increase as the day goes on. So by this afternoon, it won't be nearly as cold as what it was yesterday. So that's really good news. And that's because there's some rain snow mix coming tomorrow. So with that, a temperature increase, which is great. All right, let's take a look at your satellite radar right now. And you can see some of those flurries right now on the radar over parts of Nova Scotia's South Shore, going over parts of the valley into Halifax there, and over parts of Corner Brook, some flurries this morning as well. Current temperatures across the region as you wake up this morning to start your day. -11 in Halifax, -14 in Fredericton, -15 in Charlottetown, -8 in St. John's. But let's take a look at that wind chill, the feel-like temperature. So not too bad right now in certain areas, except in northern New Brunswick. My goodness, it is certainly cold. Do keep that in mind if you are out in northern New Brunswick today. I know locals used to this, but if you are visiting that area, keep in mind it feels like -26 in Bathurst right now, -22 in Edmundston. Even in New Glasgow, feeling like -18, -9 in Halifax, -4 in Yarmouth. Slightly milder conditions there. And again, those will get better as the day goes on. But in Newfoundland and Labrador, look at this, feeling like -15 in St. John's, and very frigid. Again, that frostbite timing you can see in Lab City. It says frostbite can really start after 20 minutes because that feel-like temperature -35. Keep that in mind. That is extreme conditions if you do have to go out and about today. All right, your full look at the forecast is coming up. But right now, Callum has your news headlines this morning.
Thanks so much, Suzette. It is 6:03, and as you mentioned, relief is on the way, but the new year has brought bitterly cold temperatures. The wind has made things feel even worse, especially for those who had to be outside. CTV's Josh Smith reports.
Since late last week, temperatures have been below -15 and at times well below -20. But at the Greater Moncton International Airport, operations haven't slowed down.
You know, we're in the Maritimes. We get a lot of snow in the winter, and our team is really prepared to make sure that they're clearing the airfield so that planes can land and depart in a safe manner.
Airport officials say winter plans are always in place with crews and equipment ready around the clock to deal with extreme cold.
I had like 2 jackets on me, 3 hoodies, and just wear as much clothes as I can so I won't freeze.
At the same time, the deep freeze is pushing electric heating systems to work harder and driving up energy demand.
The colder it is outside, the longer an electric heating source is going to have to operate to maintain the same temperature.
MB Power says cold snaps like this are when small efficiency measures can make a difference in one's power bill.
You can close curtains at nighttime. You can turn heat down when you go to bed. Like if you have, particularly if you have baseboard, right? You want to turn them, you can turn the temperature down in rooms that you don't use and then shut the door.
In downtown Moncton, the cold was enough to keep most people moving, bundled up and limiting their time outside. But in Halifax, at least one person shrugged off the cold.
I enjoy the weather. This is winter. It's how it's supposed to be.
Operators at this ski hill in Cape Breton say cold temperatures allowed them to make snow, helping them open today.
The snow guns are going. We need the temperatures to make the snow, but the conditions are beautiful.
But there is some relief from the cold on the horizon, with warmer temperatures expected later in the week. Josh Smith, CTV News, Moncton.
A dog attack near Shelburne has sent a young person to hospital with life-threatening injuries. It happened at dusk on Saturday. Police say 3 large breed dogs attacked a youth who was riding a bicycle past the property on Upper Sandy Cove Road in Welshtown. The victim was airlifted to hospital with critical injuries. The dogs were euthanized. No further details are being released at this time. Well, 22 people are out of their homes following a fire at a seniors complex in the town of St. George on Sunday, part of what's been a bad holiday period for house fires. As CTV's Avery McRae reports, it's not just homes that got destroyed.
From the street, all looks normal, but around the back and inside of this seniors apartment complex, the damage is evident.
The call came from inside that unit.
Just before 8 Sunday morning, fire crews arrived to heavy smoke coming from this building. Eastern Charlotte Fire Chief Justin Johnston says it took 3 hours to get the blaze under control.
One of the residences did get transported to hospital for smoke inhalation. They were later then released. One of our firefighters was transported as well for fatigue, and so they were later released as well.
In total, 22 people were displaced by the fire, all of whom have found temporary accommodations through either family or the Red Cross.
The part where the fire was, as of yesterday, which is the newer part of the building, is going to have to be completely redone. But the Atlantic Baptist Housing, who own the building, plan on making sure that gets done as quick as possible.
Not only was this building home for nearly 24 residents, it also housed the St. Georgian Area Food Bank, which routinely helps upwards of 125 families and 350 people in the community. In the 24 hours following the fire, the Masonic Lodge opened their basement to help the food bank continue serving the community. But their stock will need to be replenished after as much as $75,000 worth of food was destroyed.
Monday is one of our distribution days, so we had appointments lined up for clients and deliveries lined up, and we end up with no food.
But the community has stepped up for both the food bank and displaced residents. In just 24 hours, the shelves are filling back up, and a number of people and organizations have made various donations and set up fundraisers in a time where things tend to slow down.
Big percentage of our food comes in from October to Christmas. Living in a small community sometimes it has its downfall, but times like this, it is really, really nice.
The cause of the fire, or when people may be able to return to this site, is unknown. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. George, New Brunswick.
Well, a couple of security guards wound up being roughed up trying to stop some shoplifters at a Walmart in Halifax over the weekend. Police say they were called to the Mumford Road store just after 5 o'clock Sunday evening. Guards at the nearby Halifax shopping center intervened and restrained the man, but a second suspect allegedly attacked them, trying to free the first. In the end, both were arrested. The 36 and 44-year-olds will appear in court at a later date.
Callum, thank you so much for that first look at the news on this Tuesday morning. All right, I've got news you can use if you drive a Volvo. Listen up. Transport Canada has announced an update for an earlier recall involving more than 40,000 of Volvo's newer cars and SUVs in Canada. Certain vehicles could potentially experience a software problem causing rear-view camera images to not display when in reverse. This is according to the newest recall, and this affects a number of models from the 2021 to 2025 era. Volvo says it will notify affected owners by mail and send a software update. So check your mailbox if you're a Volvo driver.
Yeah, certainly important not to put those recalls aside. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's your chance to get something addressed that could actually actually impact your safety.
And I feel like people these days are more and more reliant on rear view cameras. Gone are the days of learning how to park properly and know your car, I think in some cases perhaps. So definitely important to get that checked out.
Yeah, when we all learned to drive, we had to do everything, you know, manually, as they say. Oh my goodness, now.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm the queen
Making us feel
of the
old.
mirror. Loved a little mirror, a little shoulder check, a little mirror glance.
Yep.
It'll never go away from me.
Good. Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, up next, a first look at your national and international news headlines on this Tuesday morning. Also, Suzette will have our first look at the full forecast. Here's a live look at Halifax. Stay with us. Your Morning Atlantic. We'll be right back.
Beautiful look at the ski hill in Brookvale, Prince Edward Island this morning. Isn't that gorgeous? It looks cold, of course, but a beautiful wintry scene indeed. Good morning to everyone in Atlantic Canada tuning in today. I hope you're nice and cozy inside before you head to work or school perhaps this morning. The weather today brought to you by ALC.ca. A few flurries depending where you are in the region. If you're in the Halifax area and parts of western Nova Scotia, you're going to see a few flurries today. I know there was a few flurries on my drive in this morning, making it a little slick. So just do be careful if you do have to go out if you're in certain parts of the region. Let's take a look, though, at what you can expect across the Maritimes in Newfoundland and Labrador today. We'll start in New Brunswick. In New Brunswick today, it's going to be really cold to get things going. But again, the temperature, the wind chill increasing, getting better and improving as the day goes on, which is some good news compared to what those frigid temperatures were like yesterday. Mainly cloudy skies and light winds in New Brunswick today, -5 in Fredericton, -9 in Campbellton, 1 in Grand Manan, 1 in St. John. Your daytime highs, -7 in Miramichi. As we look to Prince Edward Island today, increasing cloudiness as the day goes on. You might wake up to a lot of sunshine, but then you're going to see that cloud coverage continue. Southerly winds at 20 today, -5 in Summerside, -4 in Charlottetown today. For Cape Breton Island and parts of mainland Nova Scotia, a mix of sun and cloud here. Southwesterly winds at 20, -6 in Shetty Camp, -5 in Sydney, -1 in New Glasgow, -1 in Truro, -1 in Cheat Harbour. You'll see a few flurries today, very comparable to what people will be seeing in southwestern parts of Nova Scotia, including Halifax. There's going to be about 2 to 4 centimeters of snow. Southeasterly winds at 20, gusting to 40 around the noon hour today. Cloudy skies, so again, do keep that in mind while you are on the roads, because it does make for a few slick conditions out there. Newfoundland and Labrador in St. John's today, -2. There is a chance of flurries in the forecast for you. -6 in Corner Brook, -6 in Gander. You'll see sunshine today as we move further north. -16 in Happy Valley Goose Bay with sunshine in the forecast. And -18 in Lab City, where you will see mostly cloudy skies. All right, that's a full look at your forecast for your Tuesday. Now we'll check in with Callum.
Thanks, Suzette. The time is 6:15. Reaction continues to pour in the wake of the U.S. capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. He appeared in a New York courthouse yesterday, pleading not guilty to the charges used by American officials to justify his capture. This morning, questions remain about who is actually running the country and how this development will impact Canadians. CTV's Joy Melvin explains.
An extraordinary moment. Venezuela's former president and his wife, Celia Flores, handcuffed and escorted by officers, appearing in a U.S. federal court charged with narco-terrorism, cocaine importation, and weapons offenses. Nicolas Maduro defiantly telling the judge in Spanish, "I was captured at my home in Caracas, Venezuela. I am innocent. I am not guilty. I am still the president of my country." As many question, was the U.S. military strike even legal? Some demonstrators outside the courthouse cheered President Trump for bringing down a brutal dictator. Others pleaded no more war.
There is no war against Venezuela or its people. We are not occupying a country. This was a law enforcement operation.
The U.S. strike condemned at an emergency meeting at the United Nations, including by some U.S. allies.
The Charter enshrines the prohibition of the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state.
Still, President Donald Trump's not backing down.
We're going to run it fix it. We'll have elections at the right time.
Insisting America will tap into Venezuela's rich oil supply, warning Maduro's acting President Delcy Rodriguez to cooperate or else.
If they don't behave, we will do a second strike.
And boldly issuing new threats against Mexico, Greenland, and Colombia, now beefing up its military on the Venezuelan border.
Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long.
The White House says its actions are justified. As for Maduro, he calls himself a prisoner of war in what's expected to be a lengthy trial. If convicted, he could face life behind bars.
Okay, thanks for that, Joy Melvin. Canada's oil sector is reacting to President Trump, saying the U.S. would take control of Venezuela's oil reserves. CTV's Rachel Aiello has the details.
Global oil prices surged, but Canadian energy stocks were down today as the market absorbed the potential implications of U.S. President Donald Trump tapping Venezuelan reserves.
I think everybody needs to take a deep breath. There are so many steps between here and them starting to grow production enough to really start to compete with Canadian oil.
After ex-leader Nicolas Maduro's weekend capture, Trump sent shockwaves around the globe, musing about more military invasions.
It's by no means all about the oil. It's about someone defying an American president. That's a pretty powerful example for those who are left.
Canada is no stranger to Trump's annexation threats, but the president's former national security advisor says he doesn't think this country is at risk.
I think any kind of move against Greenland or even more far-fetched against Canada would be the end of the NATO alliance. It would do incalculable damage, not just to the United States, but to the entire Western world.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's response so far has been careful, and critics say Trump's actions are exactly why Canada increasing its economic, military, and diplomatic independence is essential.
Internally, I think this boosts the obligation for Canada to get very serious, for Parliament to get very serious about diversifying our trade exports beyond the irrational administration of the United States.
Carney spoke to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado on Sunday, pledging Canada's support for a peaceful, negotiated, and Venezuelan-led transition process. And Venezuelans in Canada expressed cautious optimism today.
We're pretty happy of what transpired.
The biggest happiness to the biggest worries.
I think it's time for Venezuelans to be happy again.
Global Affairs is urging Canadians to avoid all travel to Venezuela, citing the unstable political situation and escalating security risks.
Okay, Rachel Aiello, thank you. It's not the outcome Canada wanted at the World Junior Hockey Championship, but the team is coming home with a bronze medal.
Now bring it back out as Hage. Hage works in, but O'Reilly throws it across. O'Reilly backhand shot scores!
Canada came out on top against Finland 6-3 to claim their third-place finish in Minnesota. It marked their return to the podium for the first time since winning gold in 2023, and it comes a day after losing to Czechia. Sweden took home the top prize, winning the gold medal last night, hanging on to beat the Czechs 4-2. Okay, it's time for a quick break. When we return, your must-see moment from our colleagues at TSN. Your Morning Atlantic will be right back.
Move Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Weekday mornings on Move 100. The most fun in the morning. And home of the $1,000 minute. Only on Move 100 Halifax.
Welcome back. It is 6:24 on this Tuesday, January 6th. It's time now to check in with our friends at TSN Sports Center for today's must-see moment.
Welcome inside the Sports Center newsroom. Matt Scooby with your must-see moment from Monday. For it, we're going to head to the bronze medal game at the World Juniors. Canada taking on Finland early first. Canada 2-on-1. Michael Hage going to dish to Sam O'Reilly. He's going to go to the backhand and scores a beauty. Hage makes a nice move around the defender before setting up O'Reilly, who shows off the great hands in tight for the highlight reel goal. Canada would go on to win the bronze medal. That is your must-see moment from Monday. Tuesday on TSN, you can see NCAA men's basketball when Duke takes on Louisville. Coverage starts 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. That's all from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
This TSN must-see moment brought to you by J.R. Rahe's Furniture and Appliances.
And now to your business headlines from our colleagues at BNN.
Canadian oil stocks got battered today as investors worried about the impact of Washington running Venezuela, an oil-rich nation. The big Canadian oil stocks dropped between 5% and 7%. The concern is that under the U.S., Venezuela will release some of its oil reserves into the market and make the U.S. less reliant on Canadian oil. Canada currently exports about 4.5 million barrels of oil a day to the U.S. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 72.66. West Texas Intermediate is up $1 to 58.32. Western Canadian Select is up a dime to 43.93. And the TSX gained 336 points today to a new record close of 32,219. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Thank you, Marilla. All right, let's take a look at your 3-day forecast starting in New Brunswick. Today, -7, your daytime high. Mainly cloudy skies, light winds. That overnight low dipping to -9. Wednesday in New Brunswick, 0 degrees, snow in the forecast, some rain mix for southern areas. A special weather statement was just issued by Environment Canada regarding tomorrow's weather, that mix of snow in some parts of the region. Do keep that in mind. I know meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell will have more in detail later today once more information is released. And then Thursday, following that system, it's going to be a mix of sun and clouds, 0 degrees before the temp starts to drop again Thursday, -12, your overnight low. And then in Nova Scotia today, 0, and it is going to be some flurries in the forecast. About 2 to 4 centimeters for parts of Halifax and southwestern Nova Scotia. Mainly cloudy skies for eastern parts of the province. Tomorrow, rain in the forecast for Nova Scotia, 5 degrees. Much more mild day with rain. And then Thursday, 1 and a mix of sun and clouds. So not really bad for the first week of January, I'd say. Especially on Thursday, we can enjoy that. And then in Prince Edward Island, -5, mainly cloudy. Before that snow rain mix comes in tomorrow with a high of 3, but then sun and cloud. Thursday for the island, 1 degree. All right, it is 6:28. We'll be right back.
Just ahead this half hour, the Move Morning Chat. Today we want to know what you're counting down to. A beach vacation, a new baby. We want to know. That's coming up in about 15 minutes on Your Morning Atlantic. Well, good morning and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Your Morning Atlantic. It is 6:31 on this cold morning, ladies, but as we've talked about, some better temperatures on the way, finally, after a long cold snap.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Things get better midday. You know, it's still cold. It's winter, but things do improve. But southern parts of New Brunswick tomorrow are not going to look too good. And I know Kaylin will have more on that as the day goes on, but they're going to see rain, freezing rain. You know, that winter wallop, we call it.
Winter mix?
The mess.
The winter mix, which we should expect.
The maritime mess, right?
Yeah, it is. In one of the stories you had in your news column, a gentleman was saying, well, it's winter. I love this.
Yep.
You know, that's the attitude to have.
Yep.
It really is the attitude to have. I don't know that at this point I'm quite there mentally, but I could get there with some deep breathing and positive thinking.
Yeah. It's here whether we like it or not, right?
Exactly.
So make the most of it.
That's the truth. All right, we're heading over to St. John's, which always looks so pretty this time of morning.
Look at the lights, eh? Yeah, that is quite quite magical. It's beautiful. And you know what? Not a bad day in St. John's. Of course, as we just said, winter, it is cold, but you're going to see that mix of sun and cloud, maybe a few flurries today in St. John. So it could definitely be worse. But look at that, a cool start to the day, and you can see the lights on the buildings and at the dockyard shining brightly. Let's take a look at the satellite radar right now, and you can see those bands of flurries moving across parts of the region right now, over parts of southwestern Nova Scotia, Halifax, over parts of Corner Brook as well. Now let's see where our daytime or our current temperatures are this morning as we wake up and start our day. -5 in Yarmouth, -11 in Sydney, -21 in Edmundston, -14 in Fredericton, -8 in Corner Brook, -8 in St. John's, where we were just looking, -9 in Gander. You'll see sunshine today, and -26 in Lab City. Certainly a chilly one. That feel-like temp with the wind chill, certainly very cold in northern New Brunswick today. So if you are out and about going to work or school this morning, bundle up. Those temperatures decrease as we move further south, feeling more like -4 in Yarmouth, -17 in Sydney, still very chilly on Cape Breton Island this morning. And as we look to Newfoundland and Labrador with the wind chill, feeling like -15 as you start your day in St. John's, -15 in Corner Brook. And again, those extremely frigid temperatures, the feel-like temperature in Labrador and Lab City, -35, the feel-like -30 in Happy Valley Goose Bay, which means it doesn't take long for frostbite to start kicking in. 20 minutes in Lab City or so, 30 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Do keep that in mind. All right, it is 6:34 on this Tuesday morning. Now we're going to check in with your news headlines with Callum.
Thanks, Suzette. A high-profile murder trial is set to begin in Moncton today. As CTV's Derek Haggett reports, it comes a day after 5 people accused of conspiracy to commit murder in a separate case were back in court.
The 5 people accused of conspiracy to commit murder all made brief court appearances today in Moncton. Jansen Brian Baker, Nicholas Daniel Bain, Jesse Todd Logue, Christopher Allen Lennon, and Monique Alicia Boye were charged in November with conspiracy to commit the murder of Silvio Sagne. Each of the accused were to elect how they wanted to be tried, but the judge put the matter over until next month so each lawyer could go over the large volume of evidence. Baker was charged in 2023 with 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with the deaths of 78-year-old Bernard Sagne and 74-year-old Rosemarie Sagne, Silvio Sagne's parents. The Dieppe couple's bodies were found in their home in September of 2019, and the RCMP ruled their deaths as homicides. Baker's double homicide trial is scheduled to begin tomorrow. All 5 accused remain in custody. Silvio Sagne died in 2023, but the RCMP previously told CTV News foul play was not suspected in his death. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
In Nova Scotia, a youth who admitted to assaulting 2 security guards at a hospital in Truro last spring was handed a year's probation yesterday. The boy, who was 16 at the time, allegedly threw a bottle of bleach at the guards, striking one in the face. Back in November, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of assault with a weapon. He was handed 12 months of probation with conditions. A lack of childcare spaces continues to cause stress for parents around our region. For some, the situation is getting increasingly desperate. For more, let's bring in CTV's Jonathan McGuinness.
Bonnie Minard is the executive director of the Portland Daycare Center in Dartmouth. Her 91 spaces are spoken for.
Accessibility is unfortunately not great.
She has a wait list, but parents could be on it for years, especially those waiting for spots for infants.
I have 8 infant spaces. My wait list for infants is 385. So when you look at how many people are actually going to get a spot, you know, it's disheartening for families that, you know, have put their name on the list for years that may never get in.
I would apply as soon as you find out you're pregnant.
That still wouldn't have been soon enough for Josie Tulani, whose first child is now 8 months old, and her maternity leave is almost up.
Can't live on one income for like another year, so it's very stressful, and I'm like trying to figure out what to do. Where can I leave my child, right?
Minard has been trying to open more spots at her daycare for years. As for what it would take to make that happen,
permission from the government, funding. We would definitely be interested. We have expressed interest previously.
A recent study from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives says the provincial government has met funding targets in a bilateral agreement with the feds, but there are challenges when it comes to issues like affordable fees and enough regulated childcare spaces. One of the authors of the report says extra funding for childcare should be in the next provincial budget, and that every dollar spent on childcare has a return on investment of up to $6. Jonathan McGinnis, CTV News, Dartmouth.
It's turned out to be a busy week for Halifax water crews who've responded to nearly a dozen water main breaks, including one on Brookhouse Road in Dartmouth this morning. The utility says the spike is seasonal and not unusual. Officials say the winter freeze-thaw cycles put extra stress on aging infrastructure, especially cast iron pipes installed decades ago. Some pipes still in service today are between 50 and 100 years old, especially in the urban area.
Once the frost starts getting into the ground, you're typically the number of water main breaks and repairs that are required does increase. From year over year, our average is about 222 breaks a year.
The utility says it is on target to hit that ballpark number this year, suggesting part of this year's 17.6% rate increase will go toward maintaining and replacing aging pipes. The average emergency water main repair costs nearly $6,000.
Ooh, gosh, when you don't have water, things are challenging.
Yep, absolutely. I went to one, it was actually that scene that we just saw there before the holidays. Right before the holidays. People didn't have water.
It's challenging.
You take it for granted, right?
Yeah,
take it for
for
granted.
sure. All right. I wanted to go back to the Harbin Ice Festival. We mentioned it yesterday in our show, Suzette. We showed images of them kind of getting it ready. Well, it's officially open now, and we have images of last night's opening ceremonies. A beautiful light show. Check it out.
Wow.
This is in northern China. Colorful ice castles, stunning sculptures, all aglow. Look at the giant slide. We saw that yesterday. When you have the POV of that, it is a zippy slide. I'll tell you that. At least what I can see in the images. Right? So cool. This has become an event in northern China that people look forward to, particularly domestically in China. They have 90 million visitors a year. That was what they had last year, actually. They're expecting even more this year. So cool, though.
I love that.
We need to go.
Beautiful.
The effort put into the
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Very different scale, but downtown Dartmouth will have a wonderful ice festival that's free. January 30th is when it kicks off.
And isn't that one fun?
It is
love walking down Portland Street and seeing all the ice sculptures and everyone, you know, with their chainsaws making all the unique ice sculptures. That's a fun one.
It's super great to watch them doing it, Callum. And the ice is made in New Brunswick in a very special way.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like that block. It's so cool.
Yep. Super clear, though. Like, they do it in such a way that it's like super clear. Anyway, we'll get there in a few weeks.
Absolutely. Okay, still ahead, though, your entertainment headlines, but next, the Move Morning Chat. Today, we want to know, what are you so excited about that you're counting down to these days? Stay with us. Your Morning Atlantic. We'll be right back.
A wintry weather scene in St. John, New Brunswick this morning. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful if you like the snow. I know not everyone enjoys the snow this time of year, but it is winter, and I think that looks quite nice, quite majestic scene there this morning as the sun will slowly rise and we will start the day. However, if you are in the St. John area tomorrow, do keep in mind that special weather statement issued by Environment Canada moments ago with that snow, rain, freezing rain mix for southern parts of New Brunswick tomorrow. Of course, meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell will have all your details on that in depth during the 5 o'clock, the 6 o'clock hour, and of course online this afternoon as well. All right, let's take a look right now at your satellite radar. You can see a few flurries over some parts of the region today. Let's start in New Brunswick, though, where it is pretty calm, pretty quiet before that messy mix comes in later this week. In New Brunswick today, mainly cloudy skies, light winds, the temperature increasing as the day goes on, along with that wind chill. -7, your daytime high in Miramichi, -9 in Campbellton, -6 in Woodstock, 1 on Grand Manan, and 1 in St. John. For Prince Edward Island today, increasing cloudiness as the day goes on. Winds are from the south at 20, -5 in Summerside, your daytime high, It's -4 in Charlottetown. And -2 if you are in Surrey today, just a mix of sun and cloud there. You'll wake up to a bit more sunshine, but those clouds will start increasing. In parts of Cape Breton Island and mainland Nova Scotia, a mix of sun and cloud here. Southwesterly winds at 20, -6 in Shetty Camp, -5 in Sydney, -1 in Canso, -1 in New Glasgow, -3 in Amherst. Sheet Harbour, a few flurries for you though, -1. Halifax and southwestern Nova Scotia, you are going to see some flurries today, about 2 to 4 centimeters, depending where you live. Southeasterly winds at 20, gusting to 40 around the noon hour. 2 degrees, your daytime high in Yarmouth, 1 in Middleton, 1 in Bridgewater, 0 in Halifax, 2 in Shelburne. For Newfoundland and Labrador and St. John's today, some flurries in the forecast for you, -2. Beautiful sunshine in Gander, but cold, -6. -11 in St. Anthony as we move further north. Sunshine in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, but don't let that fool you. -16, your daytime high. And -18 in Lab City with a mix of sun and cloud. All right, that is your full look at the forecast. Right now, we are going to check in with Crystal.
We are back with another Move Morning Chat with Aaron and Peter, and we're talking about today. What are you counting down to already? Peter, Aaron, why are we talking about this?
Okay, well, new year, there's new things to look forward to, and this came up as a topic this morning for us and the Move family because Peter and I were so excited to announce the return of one of our favorite contests we do every single year. It's called Password to Paradise, and we give away 30 all-inclusive trips for 2 to the Caribbean, and we just get so excited to share this with the Move family. But there is a bit of a reason why we count down, for this to happen as well.
Absolutely. Now, we are giving away those 30 contests, but the good folks at Password to Paradise, the name of this contest, they insist that Aaron and I head to the Caribbean to broadcast from there for a week to check out the facilities, make sure that everything is up to their very, very high standards and that is going to be perfect for the Move family to head on down there and enjoy their vacation. We do that. Well, we're going to leave on the 31st of this month. So already we are counting down to day number 31 in January when we get on a plane and head to the Caribbean.
Oh, lucky duckies.
I know. Actually, this is coming in right now. This year they're sending Latavia and I, and you two are going to work in our positions. So I'm counting down to the 31st as well. No, that's just wishful thinking. Gosh, that does sound magical. I'd love to be able to do that. That would be fantastic.
Oh, incredible. Okay, Crystal, what about you? What are you counting down to?
I mean, similarly, soon after that, mid-February, my mom lives in Florida. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, gosh, travel to the U.S. Well, it's my mom. I'm going to go regardless of wherever she lives.
Of course.
I'm going to Florida mid-month of February, and I'm really excited to go see her. It's a chance. Basically, if you want to come along with me, all we do is we basically think about what we're going to eat that night. Then we go to some thrift stores.
Right? That sounds magical. Soak up the sun.
It's really great. So I'm very much looking forward to that relaxed time and getting to connect with my mom. It's always so good to get together with family. What about you?
Absolutely. I have no travel plans right now. I'm hoping to one day also escape for some sunshine and some warmth, but as of right now, no. Maybe I'll head to Toronto at some point just to see my family so they can see the kids. But other than that, I need to get on booking a trip, I guess.
Yeah. Well, gosh, I'd love to find out more about the resort you're headed to, Peter and Aaron. It always sounds like such a great time. All right, let's check in with their view. Go ahead. Let you say, get a word in edgewise.
I was going to say, we're going to have stuff to show you guys. We'll be showing on Your Morning. We'll be all over the place, so you'll have lots to see.
Well, I love following along with you when you go too. Okay, now it's time to turn it over to the viewers. All right, so let us know, what are you counting down to? That's our Move Morning Chat today. Text us at 10400. Let us know. Maybe it's a trip. Maybe it's something else. We want to hear all about it.
#1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Welcome back. It is 6:53 on your Tuesday morning. Well, it's time now to head to Hollywood, Crystal, for a look at your entertainment headlines.
Trust no one unless I tell you to do so. The Jeremy Renner crime drama Mayor of Kingstown has been renewed for a 5th season, which will also be the show's last. Season 5 will consist of 8 episodes. Mayor of Kingstown was co-created by Taylor Sheridan, who's also behind hit shows like Yellowstone. After 9 weeks as #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, The Fate of Ophelia has officially become Taylor Swift's longest leading chart topper. The Fate of Ophelia is Swift's 13th #1 hit, which is the singer's lucky number.
This is the closest to the fountain of youth anyone's ever going to get.
We have our first trailer for Ryan Murphy's new series, The Beauty. The series stars Ashton Kutcher, Anthony Ramos, Evan Peters, and Rebecca Hall, and is set to have several guest appearances, including Meghan Trainor. The Beauty is set to premiere January 21st on FX on Hulu. Disney is the parent company of FX, Hulu, and ABC News. And happy birthday to Academy Award winner Eddie Redmayne, who is 44 today. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
All right, well, tourism operators in Canada are expecting another big year ahead after 2025 featured a boost in domestic travel.
Yep. Experts say Canadians are in for some of the same travel perks that made last summer a success. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more.
All is quiet on the Halifax waterfront, but Dennis Campbell is still savoring the memories of last year's record-breaking tourism season.
From air, car, rail, cruise ship, just like we've never seen before.
Tensions between Canada and the U.S. resulted in many Canadians choosing to spend their vacation dollars closer to home. The Canada Strong Pass also had an impact, offering free or discounted admission to sites and landmarks across the country. Last year, Parks Canada provided the pass, which was linked to a 6.5% increase in Via Rail ridership, a 13% jump in visitors at Parks Canada sites, and a 15% increase in National Museum visits. The pass is available again in 2026. Campbell expects this year to be even busier than last year.
Right now, our early numbers for 26 are really strong for domestic travel.
An increase in tourism revenue has sparked the need to add more staff and expand infrastructure.
This is the trend that we're seeing really right across Canada, so the economic impact is really, really nice.
Dalhousie University professor Lauren Sheehan says the recent trend of cheaper gas is well timed for Canadians as they look to keep their travel habits north of the border.
The gas prices falling for domestic short-haul travel is fantastic for as an incentive. It just makes the holiday or the trip much more affordable.
The tourism operators are also forecasting a record-breaking cruise ship season for the Maritimes and Quebec. Last year in Halifax, more than 200 ships came to port, with even more expected in 2026.
Okay, let's take a look at what's happening now. Cold weather continues this morning, but relief is on the way. Dog attack in Shelburne County sends youth to hospital with life-threatening injuries. And fire forces seniors from their homes in New Brunswick. Those details coming up after the break. Stay with us on Your Morning Atlantic. It's Tuesday, January 6th. Today on Your Morning Atlantic, bundle up. The cold weather continues in our region this morning. Your top news headlines just ahead.
And the latest on the U.S. government's capture of Venezuela's president and his wife. Nicolas Maduro made a court appearance in New York yesterday, and we'll speak with Dalhousie University's Robert Hewish about what could happen next.
Good morning. The time is 7 o'clock. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Your Morning Atlantic. Certainly a lot to talk about, Crystal, regarding that Venezuela conversation.
Oh, my goodness.
A lot more
gracious.
to come, no question. And as we heard in the national and international news, you know, there's Canadian impacts. No matter what.
Already it's impacting markets and possibly the oil industry. You've had that in your national and international. I know you got that coming up. Robert Hewish does such a great job of bringing things into kind of an understandable context. I'm very much looking forward to that conversation.
That's going to be a really good one, an important one to have, absolutely. All eyes on the weather.
Yes.
Of course, this time of year, there's always something weather-wise to talk about. Here's a look at Wentworth, Nova Scotia right now, the ski hill. Oh, that looks beautiful. It looks cold, but 'tis the season. Look at that. That is nice.
Great weather for skiers, actually.
It is good weather for skiers. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Crystal. And you can see on the satellite radar this morning a few flurries over parts of Nova Scotia, southern parts of the province, and over parts of Corner Brook as well. There is a special weather statement in effect for southern New Brunswick for tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, bringing periods of rain, freezing rain, and snow to that part of New Brunswick. Just a messy weather mix this time of year. Meteorologist Caitlin Mitchell will certainly have more in-depth look at that tonight, but that will start tomorrow morning for you. So today, though, in New Brunswick, mainly cloudy, so some time to prepare ahead of that messy weather mix coming your way. -10 right now in Halifax, -13 in Fredericton at the hour, -11 in Sydney, -8 in St. John's at 7 o'clock on your Tuesday, and -21 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. That feel like temperature right now, the wind chill, feeling like -9 in Halifax, -15 in Moncton, -26 in Bathurst. Very cold. Do bundle up, take care and caution if you are out and about early this morning, and feeling like -16 in Charlottetown. In Newfoundland and Labrador, with that wind chill, feeling like -15 in St. John's, -15 in Corner Brook, and in Labrador, -35, the feel-like temperature in Lab City, which means frostbite could start to occur in as soon as 20 minutes of being exposed. And in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, feeling like -30. Very, very frigid temperatures. Be careful if you are out and about, and prepare for it. All right, your full look at your forecast is coming up shortly. But right now, we are going to head to Callum, who has your news headlines.
Thanks, Suzette. The time is 7:03. As you mentioned, the new year has brought bitterly cold temperatures, but relief is on the way. However, that's been no solace for those who have been stuck working outdoors in the winter. CTV's Josh Smith has more.
Since late last week, temperatures have been below -15 and at times well below -20. But at the Greater Moncton International Airport, operations haven't slowed down.
You know, we're in the Maritimes. We get a lot of snow in the winter, and our team is really prepared to make sure that they're clearing the airfield so that planes can land and depart in a safe manner.
Airport officials say winter plans are always in place with crews and equipment ready around the clock to deal with extreme cold.
I had like 2 jackets on me, 3 hoodies, and just wear as much clothes as I can so I won't freeze.
At the same time, the deep freeze is pushing electric heating systems to work harder and driving up energy demand.
The colder it is outside, the longer an electric heating source is going to have to operate to maintain the same temperature.
MB Power says cold snaps like this are when small efficiency measures can make a difference in one's power bill.
You can close curtains at nighttime. You can turn heat down when you go to bed. Like if you have, particularly if you have baseboard, right? You want to turn them. You can turn the temperature down in rooms that you don't use and then shut the door.
In downtown Moncton, the cold was enough to keep most people moving, bundled up and limiting their time outside. But in Halifax, at least one person shrugged off the cold.
I enjoy the weather. This is winter. It's how it's supposed to be.
Operators at this ski hill in Cape Breton say cold temperatures allowed them to make snow, helping them open today.
The snow guns are going. We need the temperatures to make the snow, but the conditions are beautiful.
But there is some relief from the cold on the horizon, with warmer temperatures expected later in the week. Josh Smith, CTV News, Moncton.
All right, thanks, Josh. A dog attack near Shelburne has sent a young person to hospital with life-threatening injuries. It happened at dusk on Saturday. Police say 3 large breed dogs attacked a youth who was riding a bicycle past the property on Upper Sandy Cove Road in Welshtown. The victim was airlifted to hospital with critical injuries. The dogs were euthanized. No further details are being released at this time. Well, 22 people are out of their homes following a fire at a seniors apartment complex in the town of St. George on Sunday. That's part of what's been a bad holiday period for house fires. As CTV's Avery McRae reports, it's not just homes that got destroyed.
From the street, all looks normal, but around the back and inside of this senior's apartment complex, the damage is evident.
The call came from inside that unit.
Just before 8 Sunday morning, fire crews arrived to heavy smoke coming from this building. Eastern Charlotte Fire Chief Justin Johnston says it took 3 hours to get the blaze under control.
One of the residences did get transported to hospital for smoke inhalation. They were later then released. One of our firefighters was transported as well for fatigue, and so they were later released as well.
In total, 22 people were displaced by the fire, all of whom have found temporary accommodations through either family or the Red Cross.
The part where the fire was, as of yesterday, which is the newer part of the building, is going to have to be completely redone. But the Atlantic Baptist Housing, who own the building, plan on making sure that gets done as quick as possible.
Not only was this building home for nearly 24 residents, it also housed the St. Georgian Area Food Bank, which routinely helps upwards of 125 families and 350 people in the community. In the 24 hours following the fire, the Masonic Lodge opened their basement to help the food bank continue serving the community. But their stock will need to be replenished after as much as $75,000 worth of food was destroyed.
Monday is one of our distribution days, so we had appointments lined up for clients and deliveries lined up, and we end up with no food.
But the community has stepped up for both the food bank and displaced residents. In just 24 hours, the shelves are filling back up, and a number of people and organizations have made various donations and set up fundraisers in a time where things tend to slow down.
Big percentage of our food comes in from October to Christmas. Living in a small community sometimes it has its downfall, but times like this, it's really, really nice.
The cause of the fire, or when people may be able to return to this site, is unknown. Ava McRae, CTV News, St. George, New Brunswick.
A couple of security guards wound up being roughed up trying to stop some shoplifters at a Halifax Walmart over the weekend. Police say they were called to the Mumford Road store just after 5 o'clock Sunday evening. That's when 2 employees were allegedly assaulted by a man leaving with unpaid merchandise. Guards at the nearby Halifax shopping center intervened and restrained the suspect, but a second suspect attacked them, trying to free the first. In the end, both were arrested. 36 and 44-year-olds will appear in court at a later date.
Okay, let's talk about tuna. You didn't
Tuna
think
time.
I was going to go there, did you? But the first tuna auction of the year was held in Japan Monday. It was one for the record books. A sushi restaurant chain owner paid $4.4 million for a single bluefin tuna.
Wow.
So the 240 kilogram fish, that's about 546 pounds. It was caught off the northeastern Japan coast. To break it down, the winning bidder paid over $18,000 per kilogram. That's a pricey bit of fish. The bluefin tuna stock is now recovering thanks to conservation efforts, but the species was previously threatened because of the fish's popularity in sushi.
How much would some sushi cost?
I don't know. He owns a sushi chain, so that would be like the finest. But you got to eat it right away.
Yeah.
Wow.
But a costly price to pay.
People will know, like people who are really into sushi, who are in Japan or visiting, will definitely seek out his restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it'll be all snapped up, but wow.
Yeah, I'll stick to my beef, I think, for the time being. I mean, that's expensive, too.
It's
I guess.
still very expensive. Not that kind of expensive, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, up next, we'll have your latest national and international news headlines. But first, Suzette will have another look at the full forecast. Here's a live look at Antigonish this morning. Good morning. Stay with us. CTV's Your Morning Atlantic will be right back.
Good morning, Atlantic Canada. Look at this, a live look at the Armdale Rotary, the roundabout in Halifax at this hour. Traffic is picking up. The sun has yet to rise this morning. Sure looks wintry out there, and it is a cold start to your day, so do keep that in mind. Hopefully you can, if you're able, start your car a little bit earlier outside today just to warm it up a bit. I know I had to do that. Many of us here had to do that this morning as well. Taking a look at our satellite radar today, the weather brought to you by ALC.ca. There are a few flurries over parts of the southwestern Nova Scotia at this hour, over parts of Corner Brook as well. Special weather statement in effect for parts of New Brunswick, southern parts of the province. That's tomorrow, though, going into Thursday. There's going to be that winter mix of rain, freezing rain, and snow. Meteorologist Caitlin Mitchell will have a detailed forecast on that Today, though, in New Brunswick, a bit of relief before that system rolls in. Mainly cloudy skies, light winds, -5 in Fredericton, -9 in Campbellton, 1 on Grand Manan, -7 in Miramichi, -3 in Moncton, and -9 in Edmundston today. For Prince Edward Island, -5, in Summerside today, -4 in Charlottetown, -3 in Surrey, and -6 in Tignish. Increasing cloudiness during the day, southerly winds at 20. So you'll wake up to some sunshine, you'll see some sunny breaks, but then the cloud coverage moving in today. For Cape Breton Island and parts of mainland Nova Scotia, a mix of sun and cloud here. Southwesterly winds at 20. -6 in Shetty Camp, -4 in Sydney, -2 in Antigonish, -3 in Amherst, -1 in Truro, and -1 in Sheet Harbour, where you will see a few flurries today. Keeping along with the theme of flurries, Halifax and southwestern Nova Scotia will see anywhere from 2 to 4 centimeters of flurries today in the forecast. Winds are from the southeast at 20, gusting to 40 around the noon hour. 2 in Shelburne, your daytime high, 2 in Yarmouth, 1 in Middleton, and 1 in Bridgewater. For Newfoundland and Labrador today, in St. John's, a chance of flurries in the forecast for you. That daytime high reaching -2, -6 in Gander, sunshine in the forecast, flurries in Corner Brook, -6, Happy Valley, Goose Bay, -15, sunshine in the forecast, and a mix of sun and cloud in Lab City with a high of -18. All right, that is a full look at your forecast for this Tuesday. Now we'll check in with Callum.
Thanks, Suzette. The time is 7:15. Reaction continues to pour in the wake of the U.S. capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. He appeared in a New York courthouse yesterday, pleading not guilty to the charges used by American officials to justify his capture. This morning, questions remain about who is actually running the country and how this development will impact Canadians. CTV's Joy Melvin explains.
An extraordinary moment. Venezuela's former president and his wife, Celia Flores, handcuffed and escorted by officers, appearing in a U.S. federal court charged with narco-terrorism, cocaine importation, and weapons offenses. Nicolas Maduro defiantly telling the judge in Spanish, "I was captured at my home in Caracas, Venezuela. I am innocent. I am not guilty. I am still the president of my country." As many question, was the U.S. military strike even legal? Some demonstrators outside the courthouse cheered President Trump for bringing down a brutal dictator. Others pleaded no more war.
There is no war against Venezuela or its people. We are not occupying a country. This was a law enforcement operation.
The U.S. strike condemned at an emergency meeting at the United Nations, including by some U.S. allies.
The Charter enshrines the prohibition of the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state.
Still, President Donald Trump's not backing down.
We're going to run it, fix it. We'll have elections at the right time.
Insisting America will tap into Venezuela's rich oil supply, warning Maduro's acting President Delcy Rodriguez to cooperate or else.
If they don't behave, we will do a second strike.
And boldly issuing new threats against Mexico, Greenland, and Colombia, now beefing up its military on the Venezuelan border.
Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long.
The White House says its actions are justified. As for Maduro, he calls himself a prisoner of war in what's expected to be a lengthy trial. If convicted, he could face life behind bars.
Okay, CTV's Joy Melvin, thank you. We'll hear more about the Venezuelan situation coming up after the break from Dalhousie University's Robert Hewish. Stay with us.
Welcome back now, 7:21, and time to shed some light on the situation unfolding in Venezuela. Late Saturday night, U.S. President Donald Trump announced that U.S. Special Forces had captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores, and they'd been removed from the South American country to New York. The news was met with shock from many camps and jubilation from many Venezuelans who see the removal of Maduro as the new beginning for the country. Joining us now to examine how this could impact the geopolitical landscape is our friend and associate professor professor of international development studies at Dalhousie University, Robert Hewish. Happy New Year, Robert. Good morning to you.
Happy New Year, Crystal. It's going to be a busy one in international affairs.
For sure. We got 4.5 minutes. Let's make the most of it. So for those of us who aren't as dialed in, tell us a bit more about Maduro and his presidency.
So Maduro came to power after Hugo Chavez passed away in the early 2010s. So since he's been leader of Venezuela, there has been a litany of problems with his governance. So particularly, it started out with any sort of social programs or social progress that was made under Chavez being quickly removed and mismanaged by Maduro. The second thing that came out is that, as we're hearing, there's a lot of importance of oil for the Venezuelan economy that was also mismanaged. So where Venezuela has the capacity to produce something like close to 3 million barrels of oil per day. Right now, they're under 800,000 barrels per day. So it just impacted the economy there. There was high crime. There was gang activity under Maduro's leadership. There was a lack of justice that the UN's called out, that the courts were corrupt. And also the latest trick, of course, was stealing elections, as the last one was, and also using lethal force against opponents, especially protesters and any political opponents that he could get his hands on. So Maduro, even by United Nations, has said, no, he was a sleazy guy and shouldn't be sitting in any office anywhere.
So how unusual was this move by the U.S. government?
This is an absolute first to kidnap a head of state, even though an illegitimate head of state and one that's got a pretty shady track record, and then to actually have this special ops Delta Force mission come in. That is, I think many people in military circles are really heralding it as being an exceptional moment, that it showed all sorts of coordination and skill that others wouldn't dare attempt. But at the same stroke, it also violated every avenue of international law. The idea that you can just simply kidnap heads of state or even civilians in another jurisdiction and bring them to stand trial, that's new for the U.S. I mean, usually, if history tells us anything, that to get rid of dictators and leaders that the U.S. disagrees with, it's usually done through covert means, which is what we continue to see with Mr. Putin, of how he disposes of his enemies. But this is very overt, and it's one that's also being done with a celebratory tone. With Mr. Maduro out of power, you've taken one bad apple out of the barrel, but the rest of the barrel is still there. Everyone else who's running Venezuela last week, they're still there, except him.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into the implications of all that in a second. But Maduro and his wife appeared in court yesterday in New York on drug and weapon charges. They pleaded not guilty. They didn't seek bail. But a lot of people are questioning the legality of this. Does the U.S. court have any jurisdiction over a foreign citizen, particularly the leader of a country?
Well, I think when he's in U.S. custody and in the court, yes, they can go forward with the proceedings. But there's a lot of legal experts around the world who are questioning the legality of getting him there. That this is a violation of international statutes that governs the use of force. It also is an infringement directly on sovereign territory. So will these issues come up and perhaps put some flies in the ointment to succeed in a successful trial? That we'll have to see.
Okay, this came out of nowhere for a lot of people. Is this all about Venezuelan oil?
Yes, it is. And the indicator for that was what Trump said on Air Force One in one of his last press meetings, is that he informed U.S. oil companies before the kidnapping and then after the kidnapping. So he had dialogue with U.S. oil producers before and after, where he had no dialogue with Congress or really anyone else outside of that inner military circle. There's very little appetite to see any sort of democratic transition move forward in Venezuela. So Maria Machado, who has the Nobel Peace Prize for her works in forming and organizing the Venezuelan opposition, there's no discussion about trying to land her in as being her team as being the winners of the last election in Venezuela. Now, in part, that's also because the architecture of Venezuela is so connected to the military, and that now Delcy Rodriguez, who is now sworn in as president of Venezuela just a few hours ago, now that she is the president of Venezuela, the idea is to use U.S. military threat against her now government to make sure that policies go towards U.S. interests. And that is principally about getting current production of oil going to Texas and southern Mississippi, and then also opening up the door for further extraction possibilities within the country.
Okay, well, we've only got like a minute left, Robert, but this almost feels like a geopolitical tsunami with all kinds of rumblings. There are thoughts that Cuba could fall next, and I know this has implications for Canadians. So maybe with the final words, why is it important that Canadians pay attention to what's going on here?
Well, initially, we're going to see a lot of pressure from Cuba, as you say. And again, Trump's foreign policy is done with big Sharpie strokes, and it's looked at in monochrome. So there's not a lot of complexity being thought out here, but the idea that Cuba is being so dependent upon Venezuelan energy, the likelihood of Trump and Rubio tying off that tap is really, really high, and it will put Cuba, who's had a very, very difficult economic challenge since the pandemic, in a really tight spot. But the bigger thing people need to worry about, and as the markets indicated yesterday, is Trump trying to replace Alberta oil with Venezuelan crude. It's a similar sort of heavy, sour crude. You require chemical inputs like naphtha to try to lubricate it to get it out. We've got about 4 million barrels a day that go from Alberta to the U.S. The highest capacity measurable in Venezuela right now is about 4 million barrels. So if Trump is planning to do that, then it would be probably a 5 to 10 year project that would try to tie off dependency upon Alberta's oil sands, the increased dependency upon Venezuela, and then likely trigger some sort of a political crisis in Western Canada. That's probably the foreign policy that Trump has thought about this far, if he even has it all.
Wow, Robert, thank you so much for these thoughts today.
Thanks, Krista. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. All right, at 7:28, we're going to take a break and continue with our show right after this. Hope to see you then.
Coming up this half hour, The Power of Guilt. We'll speak to author and psychology professor Chris Moore about his new book and find out how you can use guilt to your benefit. That's in about 15 minutes on Your Morning Atlantic.
For joining us. We're halfway through the show. It's a busy one today, Tuesday, January 6th. If you missed that interview with Robert Hewish, look it up online. If you can't see any of it, skip to the end when he talks about how what's going on in Venezuela could really impact Canada and its particular oil industry out west. That's very interesting. That interview went a bit long, so we are a bit behind. We got to get you caught up to date.
But really good information to have.
So useful.
Yeah, that's the top of the news headlines right now. I mean,
yep.
And Robert's such a good interviewer. Like, that's great. That
well,
was a really good.
It's a joy to speak with Robert. I'm grateful he's back in 2026. Other big story today, the weather. It's cold right now.
It's cold right now. Temperatures will increase a bit, which is really good. There is a special weather statement on for parts of New Brunswick, southern New Brunswick, for tomorrow. Tomorrow, bringing some snow, freezing rain, and rain for southern New Brunswick. Meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell will have more on that. Right now, though, a live look at Bedeck, Nova Scotia. Beautiful, beautiful image. Look at your satellite radar right now. You can see some flurries over southwestern Nova Scotia, over parts of Halifax, Corner Brook. Halifax right now, I'm hearing the morning commute is quite greasy. It is slow, especially if you are coming in from areas, rural parts outside of the city, outside of the peninsula. Do take your time. I know traffic is slow right now. And again, sometimes just those few flurries make things pretty greasy. And with those cold temperatures, just be careful and keep that in mind. Give yourself extra time. Let's take a look at where your current temperatures sit at this hour. -11 in Halifax, -13 in Charlottetown, -13 in Fredericton, -8 in St. John's, and -28 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. The feel-like temperature right now, ooh, it's certainly cold. Feeling like -22 in Edmundston, -13 in Macadam, -15 in Moncton, -11 in Kentville, -18 in New Glasgow. In Newfoundland and Labrador, -16, the feel-like temperature in Gander, and -35, the feel-like temperature in Lab City, where frostbite can start to occur within 20 minutes or so. So do keep that in mind and take caution. All right, it's 7:34. That's a look at your forecast. Your full forecast coming up shortly. But right now, Callum has your news headlines.
Okay, thanks, Suzette. A high-profile murder trial is set to begin in Moncton today. Jansen Brian Baker is accused of killing 74-year-old Rosemary Saulnier and her 78-year-old husband Bernard Saulnier back in 2019. 4 years later, Baker was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. A jury was selected over the weekend with opening statements expected today. A Nova Scotia youth who admitted to assaulting 2 security guards at the hospital in Truro last spring was handed a year's probation. The boy, who was 16 at the time, threw a bottle of bleach at the guards, striking one in the face. Back in November, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of assault with a weapon. He was handed 12 months of probation with conditions. A Dartmouth woman is facing animal cruelty charges after an investigation by the provincial SPCA. The agency says it investigated several complaints of animal abuse during appointments at a grooming facility in Dartmouth. 39-year-old Lorraine Murphy has been charged with 4 counts of causing distress under the Animal Protection Act. She's scheduled to face a judge in March. A lack of childcare spaces continues to cause stress for parents around our region. For some, the situation is getting increasingly desperate. For more, we bring in CTV's Jonathan McGuinness.
Bonnie Minard is the executive director of the Portland Daycare Center in Dartmouth. Her 91 spaces are spoken for.
Accessibility is unfortunately not great.
She has a wait list, but parents could be on it for years, especially those waiting for spots for infants.
I have 8 infant spaces. My wait list for infants is 385. So when you look at how many people are actually going to get a spot, you know, it's disheartening for families that, you know, have put their name on the list for years that may never get in.
I would apply as soon as you find out you're pregnant.
That still wouldn't have been soon enough for Josie Tulane, whose first child is now 8 months old, and her maternity leave is almost up.
Can't live on one income for like another year, so it's very stressful, and I'm like trying to figure out what to do. Where can I leave my child, right?
Minard has been trying to open more spots at her daycare for years. As for what it would take to make that happen,
permission from the government, funding. We would definitely be interested. We have expressed interest previously.
A recent study from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives says the provincial government has met funding targets in a bilateral agreement with the feds, but there are challenges when it comes to issues like affordable fees and enough regulated childcare spaces. One of the authors of the report says extra funding for childcare should be in the next provincial budget, and that every dollar spent on childcare has a return on investment of up to $6. Jonathan McGuinness, CTV News, Dartmouth.
It's turned out to be a busy week for Halifax water crews who've responded to nearly a dozen water main breaks. The utility says the spike is seasonal and not unusual. Officials say the winter freeze-thaw cycles put extra stress on aging infrastructure, especially cast iron pipes installed decades ago. Some pipes still in service today are between 50 and 100 years old, especially in the urban area. 6 of the last 10 water breaks occurred in Halifax and a couple others in Dartmouth.
Once the frost starts getting into the ground, you're typically the number of water main breaks and repairs that are required does increase. From year over year, our average is about 222 breaks a year.
The utility says it is on target to hit that ballpark number this year, suggesting part of this year's 17.6% rate increase will go toward maintaining and replacing those aging pipes. The average emergency water main repair costs nearly $6,000. Finally, people who live in a Bedford neighborhood are keeping a close watch for a deer that literally can't quite shake the Christmas spirit. A number of people have spotted the young buck with Christmas lights wrapped around his antlers. Several have expressed concerns about the animal, but experts say nature tends to take care of the problem in due time.
If the garbage isn't impeding their ability to eat, especially when it's around their antlers, those antlers will drop probably in February or early March, and hopefully all of that stuff will fall off with them.
Swinmer says that option is preferable to cornering and tranquilizing the animal, which can be sometimes dangerous or even deadly.
Interesting.
I know, I've never seen that before.
What a sight.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about the cold weather for a second. It's cold here, but even colder in China.
Yep.
And brave souls there are not just cold plunging, we'll call it frigid plunging. Check it out. There we go. Temperatures hover around minus 15 degrees Celsius in China's Tsinghua River. These plungers all belong to a winter swimming club with more than 300 members. So the cold winters in the area have made it a hot spot for domestic tourism and plunging. They say that this experience keeps them healthy, and most of the members of the 300 say they never even get a common cold.
There we go.
Wow.
Look at how robust they are. These are not young swimmers. Yeah, get it.
I'm kind of embarrassed to admit I've never done a cold plunge.
Oh, I do it.
Me neither.
Not this year yet.
You do it regularly?
Yeah. Oh, it is exhilarating.
Yeah, so I've heard, and I've seen a lot more people doing the ice baths as well, like a regular routine, which I respect a lot because that's not for me.
I'll have what they're having. They are very young and youthful, even though they're, they're up in their years.
No question.
That's really cool.
Okay, still ahead this half hour, Suzette will have her latest look at the Tuesday forecast and then using guilt for good. We'll speak with the author of the new book, The Power of Guilt, about how you can harness those feelings to your advantage. Stay with us. Your Morning Atlantic. We'll be right back.
Good morning, Atlantic, Canada. Here's a live look at Edmundston, New Brunswick. A cold start to the day in Edmundston. That view looks beautiful. Some snow on the trees. Traffic looks like it's moving well this morning. And good morning to you if you are in Edmundston or in the surrounding communities there. Again, cold start to the day, but I know you are used to that this time of year. All right, looking at our satellite radar, you can see some flurries over southwestern Nova Scotia, Halifax area at this hour, as well as over Corner Brook. That morning commute in the Halifax area, though, a little messy right now. Just a little bit of flurries on the ground. Those cold temperatures making things a little slick. Traffic moving slow. Do keep that in mind. Plan ahead. Hit the road a little early if you are out and about today or headed to work or to school. All right, looking at today's daytime highs, let's start in New Brunswick, where it's almost a calm before the storm, if you will. There is a winter wallop coming to southern parts of the province tomorrow. Environment Canada has issued a special weather statement bringing periods of freezing rain, and snow to southern parts of the province. Today, though, -5 in Fredericton, 1 on Grand Manan, -7 in Miramichi, -9 in Campbellton, and -9 in Edmundston, where we were just looking at a live shot, -5 in Woodstock, and -3 in Moncton. Mainly cloudy, light winds in the forecast for you. To Prince Edward Island for today, -6 in Tignish, your daytime high, -5 in Summerside, -4 in Charlottetown, and -3 in Surrey, where there is increasing cloudiness throughout the day and winds from the south at 20. Cape Breton Island and parts of mainland Nova Scotia, you'll see a mix of sun and cloud today and southwesterly winds at 20, -4 your daytime high in Sydney, -1 in Truro, -1 in New Glasgow, and -3 in Amherst, and -1 in Canso. A few flurries if you are in Sheet Harbour today. And in Halifax and parts of southwestern Nova Scotia, about 2 to 4 centimeters of snow in the forecast for you. Some of you waking up to a few flurries as well. Southeasterly winds at 20, gusting to 40 around the noon hour. 2 in Yarmouth, your daytime high. 1 in Middleton, 1 in Bridgewater, 0 in Kentville, 0 in Halifax. For Newfoundland and Labrador, -2 in St. John's today, where you will see a chance of flurries. But as we move into Gander, sunshine in the forecast, -6. Few flurries in Corner Brook as well, -6, and then further north, -15 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, your daytime high, sunshine in the forecast, and -18 in Lab City, where you will see a mix of sun and cloud. All right, that's a look at your full forecast for this Tuesday. Now we'll check in with Crystal.
Thanks, Suzette. It's now 7:47. Now, did you know that you don't need to feel guilty about feeling guilty? In fact, leaning into those uncomfortable feelings can actually be good for you. The Power of Guilt is a new book that sheds light on a powerful emotion we can all experience but often try to avoid. But through science and personal stories, we learn guilt can teach us powerful lessons about ourselves, and that can help us improve our relationships and our lives. Here to tell us more is the book's author, Chris Moore, who is also a developmental psychologist and professor at Dalhousie University. Good morning, Chris. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you in. Really interesting book. I won't spoil the story for our viewers who will read the book, but you experienced very profound guilt in your life. How did owning up to this guilt improve your own life?
I think understanding that guilt helped a lot in terms of the way that I manage my own relationships. Because the message of the book really is that guilt is a signal that we need to work on our relationships. And so understanding that really helped me to start to think about how do I manage my own relationships.
Very interesting. Now, what made you decide to write a book about guilt? Because it's one of those things, and I know it's good when there's something that's so obvious that why didn't we all think of this? That you know you're onto something here. So why did you decide to be the person to kind of like shed light on guilt?
Yeah, so I thought, you know, the real reason is I was transitioning away from my life as a professor. And I wanted to start to make the work that I do more appealing to a general audience. You know, as professors, a lot of the work we do is read by a very small audience. Now I wanted to do something that would be read by a broader, you know, audience of people. And I felt that guilt was a topic that everybody could relate to. You know, everybody's felt guilt at some point in their lives. Some people feel it a lot, some people less so, but pretty much everybody feels it, and everybody can relate to the topic of this book. So I felt like, you know, I'd worked for a long time on the psychology of social relationships, and so this was a good topic to attempt to understand.
Well, it's a thorough examination of guilt. You talk about guilt and religion, for example, like Catholic guilt is a phrase a lot of people are familiar with, guilt and the law. What was one of the more interesting things you found out about guilt when you were researching for this book?
Well, I think the most interesting thing, of course, is that although guilt feels bad, nobody wants to feel guilt. It's actually good for us, right? So what guilt does is it pushes us to try to work on our relationships. And in the end, our relationships are the most important things we have in our lives. And so making them work better, making them more rewarding, there's nothing more important than doing that. And so harnessing the power of guilt is one of the ways we can do that.
So let's really quick give an example of how that would work. So say, like guilt, they say you have a guilty conscience.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like maybe I said something to somebody and then it's gnawing at me after?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so one of the examples I use in the book is gossip. I'd imagine that you gossiped to somebody that you just met about a friend of yours. Right, and that's easy to do. You know, you in the spur of the moment, you might say something to try to impress the other person, and then suddenly you feel, oh no, what have I done? What if that gets back to my friend, and so on? And so then you're overwhelmed with this feeling of guilt. So what then do you do about it? Well, you could you know, push it down and not think about it, but it'll gnaw at you. And so typically the best way to do it is to own up to it and to apologize. An apology is the most effective way of curing guilt, because what it does is it leads to forgiveness from the other person. And forgiveness is the antidote to guilt. If you get forgiveness from the person that you've hurt, then the guilt typically will go away.
Well, Craig, thank you so much for coming in today, and congratulations on your book.
Thank you so much.
We put details on our website about how you can get your copy, but Callum, there's a lot of really interesting stuff in here. I think that it's a good read.
Looking forward to it, Crystal. There we go. Okay, into health and medical news now. A cheaper generic version of Ozempic is one step closer to hitting the shelves. That's one of the topics in the latest Your Health. Starting this week, Canadian drug companies are allowed to make lower-priced generic versions of Ozempic. One endocrinologist says it will help people who can't afford to pay for the drugs, such as Ozempic and Wegovy. As of December 29th, Health Canada had received 9 submissions seeking approval to make semaglutide, the active ingredient in those drugs. While nothing is finalized, generic versions could be up to 35% cheaper compared to the brand names. Cuba is battling a surge of several infectious diseases, marking the country's most severe crisis in recent decades, according to a recent report in the peer-reviewed medical journal BMJ. Officials recently reported more than 38,000 suspected cases of 3 different diseases, overwhelming hospitals. The Canadian government is urging travelers heading to Cuba to try to prevent mosquito and midges bites by wearing insect repellent, wearing long-sleeved shirts, and light-colored, tightly woven materials. You're also asked to close windows and air conditioning inside and speak with a healthcare provider 6 weeks prior to Canadian departure. A professor at the University of Toronto says 50% of Canadians over the age of 40 have high cholesterol, warning people to try to get a hold of their levels soon to help reduce the risk of heart disease, one of the leading causes of death in Canada. Quitting smoking and changing unhealthy diets are 2 suggestions to help. With Health and Medical News, I'm Callum Smith for The Lifeline.
And now we we'd like to introduce you to the Maritimers who are marking milestones today. It's a 101st birthday for Pearl Marie Prime of Lake Echo, Nova Scotia. Happy birthday, Pearl. 101.
101, Pearl. Woo. Oh my gosh, happy birthday to you. You are in your prime. And it's 103rd birthday for Florine Cormier of Cocaine, New Brunswick. Florine, 103. You look fantastic. Very few people get to blow out 103 candles on the birthday cake.
Oh my gosh, bonne fête, Florine. Wow. All right, and to see your milestone again or to find out how to submit one, visit our website by scanning the QR code on your screen right there on your TV right now. And a reminder, we must receive your milestones 2 weeks in advance so we can show it on our program.
Milestones, brought to you by the Berkeley Retirement Residences. Love this stage of life.
Well, we certainly love a story that features service dogs, and this next remarkable canine has worn many hats over its decade of work.
ABC's Danny New introduces us to a service dog with a nose like no other.
Even for a dog as disciplined and decorated as Maple,
people have been amazed at her enthusiasm, energy, and how exhausting she is.
For nearly a decade now, Dr. Sue Staskill has been working alongside this English Springer Spaniel, who will actually be recognized in a few weeks for winning one of the American Kennel Club's annual awards for canine excellence. She was selected out of nearly 700 dogs.
She does whatever I ask her to do, and she does it with such enthusiasm and finesse.
And Maple has applied that enthusiasm to the many phases of her career.
Those are moving.
First off, she served as something the Heffermans on King of Queens could have used, called a bedbug detection dog.
Search.
Then Maple spent years working with the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Office in Michigan, using her nose to solve cold cases. But now, retired from the force and in her golden years, Maple has been spending the past year and a half working to save the bug you might be scared of, but really need: honeybees.
She's not the first one, but it's the first one that has been documented. And there you are.
Teaming up with researchers at Michigan State, Sue has been training Maple to find a certain highly contagious bacteria that can be quite destructive to a hive. As you can see in research conducted this past summer, Maple even got to rock her own beekeeping suit. And now Sue is working on the finishing touches for a training guide that can help train other dogs to track down this bacteria. According to U.S. Fish and Wildlife, it is estimated that as much as 35% of the world's food crops depend on animal pollinators to reproduce. So thank you for your nasal service, Maple.
She's just an incredible dog.
So Sue says her training guide with Michigan State should be coming this spring or maybe summer, and then maybe you can train your dog to track down the Panobacillus larvae, is what it's called, I think. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
That's wonderful. All right. Your 3-day forecast in New Brunswick today, mainly cloudy, -7. Tomorrow, though, snow in the forecast. Southern parts of the province under a special weather statement. Freezing rain along with that snow is expected. And then Thursday, things clear out, 0 degrees in New Brunswick, a mix of sun and cloud. In Nova Scotia today, 0 flurries in the forecast for southern parts of the province and western areas. Mainly cloudy, though. Rain in Nova Scotia tomorrow, a high of 5. Temperature much more mild. And then Thursday, 1 in Nova Scotia, a mix of sun and cloud. And for Prince Edward Island today, -5, mainly cloudy. Rain or snow mix tomorrow with a high of 3, and then 1 on Thursday. Sun and cloud in the forecast. All right, it's 7:56.
It is Tuesday, January 6th. Today on Your Morning Atlantic, bundle up. Heading outdoors this morning. The cold weather continues in our region today. Your top news headlines are just ahead. Welcome in to this Tuesday edition of Your Morning Atlantic. We're in the stretch drive, 8:01, the final hour of the show. And as mentioned, a cold morning. So if you're heading out and about, heading to work, out for leisure activities, bundle up is the bottom line.
It's cold. It's icy out there. My husband just texted me and said he got to work. He said Highway 107, completely black ice.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, so be careful, especially if you are coming in. I mean, I'm sure it's a little slick in the city too and on the peninsula, but if you're coming in from more rural parts of the Halifax municipality. Do take your time.
Take
because
your time.
Yeah,
Leave space between yourself and the person in front of you. That's a biggie, because if you do need to stop, you've got a little bit of wiggle room there.
and that's huge. That
Yeah.
makes all the difference.
And aggressive drivers seem to be more and more frequent these days, and people seemingly forget how to drive when the roads are slick.
It's true. It's true. It is really cold this morning, but I saw your 3-day forecast, Suzette. It looks like it's warming up a fair bit.
By Thursday, all 3 provinces get, I want to call it a little bit of a relief, if you
a tropical
will.
heat wave,
Well,
if
it's
you will?
going to be, well, it'll be 1 degrees or so, but sunshine. So nicer than today, let's say, you know, and some rain coming. Here's a live look at Bellyvos Cove on parts of the Acadian Peninsula there, over parts of Nova Scotia.
I wish you'd have to pay for that, Suzette.
I know, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure there's some distant cousins there. Yes, of course. So hello to everyone in Bellyvos Cove this morning in the Clare municipality, and let's take a look right now at your satellite radar. There are some flurries over parts of southwestern Nova Scotia, Halifax at this hour, over Corner Brook as well. Certainly a chilly start to your day, as we've been mentioning. Do take caution if you are out and about. And minus 13 in Fredericton right now, minus 14 in Moncton, minus 11 in Halifax, minus 4 in Yarmouth, minus 11 in Sydney, minus 8 in St. John's, and minus 8 in Corner Brook, minus 21 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and minus 28 in Lab City. But let's take a look at those feel-like temperatures right now. My goodness, minus 4 in Yarmouth. The feel-like temperature would be very similar if you are in the Bellyvos Cove area, just about 45 minutes or so from Yarmouth there. Minus 5, the feel-like temperature in Shelburne. But as we move further north, minus 22, the feel-like temperature in Edmundston, minus 26 in Bathurst, minus 17 in Sydney, and minus 16, the feel-like temperature in Charlottetown. Minus 15 in St. John's, that feel-like temperature, and minus 15 in Corner Brook. Further north, though, Lab City, the feel-like temp, minus 35, which means frostbite can start to occur on exposed areas of the skin quite fast, within 20 minutes or so, and minus 30 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. All right, your full look at the forecast is coming up. Right now, we'll have a look at your news headlines with Callum.
Thank you so much. The time is 8:04, and as Suzette mentioned, relief is on the way, but the flip of the calendar has brought bitterly cold temperatures. The wind has made things even worse, especially for those who have to be outside. CTV's Josh Smith has more.
Since late last week, temperatures have been below minus 15 and at times well below minus 20. But at the Greater Moncton International Airport, operations haven't slowed down.
You know, we're in the Maritimes. We get a lot of snow in the winter, and our team is really prepared to make sure that they're clearing the airfield so that planes can land and depart in a safe manner.
Airport officials say winter plans are always in place, with crews and equipment ready around the clock to deal with extreme cold.
I had like 2 jackets on me, 3 hoodies, and just wear as much clothes as I can so I won't freeze.
At the same time, the deep freeze is pushing electric heating systems to work harder and driving up energy demand.
The colder it is outside, the longer an electric heating source is going to have to operate to maintain the same temperature.
MB Power says cold snaps like this are when small efficiency measures can make a difference in one's power bill.
You can close curtains at nighttime. You can turn heat down when you go to bed. Like if you have, particularly if you have baseboard, right? You want to turn them. You can turn the temperature down in rooms that you don't use and then shut the door.
In downtown Moncton, the cold was enough to keep most people moving, bundled up and limiting their time outside. But in Halifax, at least one person shrugged off the cold.
I enjoy the weather. This is winter. It's how it's supposed to be.
Operators at this ski hill in Cape Breton say cold temperatures allowed them to make snow, helping them open today.
The snow guns are going. We need the temperatures to make the snow, but the conditions are beautiful.
But there is some relief from the cold on the horizon, with warmer temperatures expected later in the week. Josh Smith, CTV News, Moncton.
A dog attack near Shelburne has sent a young person to hospital with life-threatening injuries. It happened at dusk on Saturday. Police say 3 large breed dogs attacked a youth who was riding a bicycle past the property on Upper Sandy Cove Road in Welshtown. The victim was airlifted to hospital with critical injuries. The dogs were euthanized. No further details are being released at this time. 22 people are out of their homes following a fire at a seniors complex in the town of St. George on Sunday, part of what's been a bad holiday period for house fires. As CTV's Avery McRae reports, it's not just their homes that got destroyed.
From the street, all looks normal, but around the back and inside of this seniors apartment complex, the damage is evident.
The call came from inside that unit.
Just before 8 Sunday morning, fire crews arrived to heavy smoke coming from this building. Eastern Charlotte Fire Chief Justin Johnston says it took 3 hours to get the blaze under control.
One of the residences did get transported to hospital for smoke inhalation. They were later then released. One of our firefighters was transported as well for fatigue, and so they were later released as well.
In total, 22 people were displaced by the fire, all of whom have found temporary accommodations through either family or the Red Cross.
The part where the fire was, as of yesterday, which is the newer part of the building, is going to have to be completely redone. But the Atlantic Baptist Housing, who own the building, plan on making sure that gets done as quick as possible.
Not only was this building home for nearly 24 residents, it also housed the St. Georgian Area Food Bank, which routinely helps upwards of 125 families and 350 people in the community. In the 24 hours following the fire, the Masonic Lodge opened their basement to help the food bank continue serving the community. But their stock will need to be replenished after as much as $75,000 worth of food was destroyed.
Monday is one of our distribution days, so we had appointments lined up for clients and deliveries lined up, and we end up with no food.
But the community has stepped up for both the food bank and displaced residents. In just 24 hours, the shelves are filling back up, and a number of people and organizations have made various donations and set up fundraisers in a time where things tend to slow down.
Big percentage of our food comes in from October to Christmas. Living in a small community sometimes it has its downfall, but times like this, it is really, really nice.
The cause of the fire, or when people may be able to return to this site, is unknown. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. George, New Brunswick.
A couple of security guards wound up being roughed up trying to stop some shoplifters at a Halifax Walmart over the weekend. Police say they were called to the Mumford Road store just after 5 o'clock Sunday evening, when two employees were allegedly assaulted by a man leaving with unpaid merchandise. Guards at the nearby Halifax shopping center intervened and restrained the man, but a second suspect attacked them, trying to free the first. In the end, both were arrested. The 36 and 44-year-olds will appear in court at a later date.
Thank you, Callum. That's our news to 8:09.
That's it.
I've got a fun story here. An utter surprise for an Alberta farm on New Year's Day. That's Mama. For the second year in a row, triplet calves were born at Lucky 7 Cattle Company southwest of Edmonton. The owner says healthy triplets are rare, with the odds at about 1 in 8 million. I have more details if we keep the video up for a little bit longer. Their names are Darla, Marla, and Carla.
Oh.
And they were each weighing about 51 to 56 pounds at birth.
Whoa.
So imagine carrying 160 pounds of baby weight.
Mom's a rock star.
Moms are, aren't they cute?
They're adorable.
So cute.
Everyone's doing well.
Oh,
So
good
sweet.
to hear.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I love how much we talk about animals on this show. I got to say that.
You do? We love it too.
Penguins. We've had pandas, eagles yesterday, and now cows. It's a nice touch.
Thank you for saying that, Cal. We love having you on the show.
It's been a pleasure. Been a pleasure to be here.
It has been a treat, but we have to take a break.
Absolutely. Still to come this half hour, though, we'll chat with the folks at Jolly Tales about what you need to know when it comes to boarding your pets. Just after the break, Suzette has another look at the forecast. Here's a live look at Summerside. Stay with us. Your Morning Atlantic will be right back.
Good morning to everyone in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia today. Home sweet home, and it is snowy there. Beautiful look at the Cape Forshue Lighthouse this morning. My goodness, you could hardly see the water. It is there were some flurries there, and my mom did mention it has been snowing quite a bit in Yarmouth over the last few days, so I know many of you are looking for a break in the weather, but that rain coming tomorrow in Nova Scotia will be welcomed by many, I am sure. All right, let's take a look at your satellite radar right now. The weather brought to you this morning by ALC.ca. There are flurries still continuing over parts of southwestern Nova Scotia. I know, again, you've been experiencing those for some time over Halifax as well. Do take caution, though, in the Halifax area. We've heard the roads are greasy, some black ice this morning. Again, a few flurries, and that cold weather really makes for a messy mix. Over Corner Brook, a few flurries this morning as well. Let's look at New Brunswick right now, because New Brunswick tomorrow, southern parts of the province, you're under a special weather statement bringing snow, freezing rain, and rain to that part of the province. Today, though, more like a bit of relief, calm before the storm, light winds, and mainly cloudy skies. Cold, though, -6 your daytime high in Fredericton, -9 in Campbellton, -9 at Edmundston, -7 in Miramichi. And for Prince Edward Island, increasing cloudiness throughout the day today. -5 in Summerside, your daytime high, -4 in Charlottetown, -3 in Surrey. For Cape Breton Island and parts of mainland Nova Scotia, a mix of sun and cloud for you here today. -1 in Truro, -1 in New Glasgow, and in Canso, -2 in Antigonish, -6 in Shettycamp, and -4 in Sydney. Southwesterly winds at 20. And for Halifax and parts of southwestern Nova Scotia, those flurries continue today, anywhere from about 2 to 4 centimeters total. Southeasterly winds at 20, gusting to 40 around the noon hour. So it'll be a bit messy then. 1 in Halifax today, your daytime high, 1 in Middleton and Bridgewater, 2 in the Tri-Counties, Yarmouth, Digby, and Shelburne. For Newfoundland and Labrador, today in St. John's, -2, chance of flurries in the forecast. Sunshine in Gander, -6 your daytime high, -6 in Corner Brook today, some flurries in the forecast for you as well. -11 in St. Anthony, a mix of sun and cloud. And as we move further north, -15 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay with sunshine in the forecast. And Lab City, -18 with a mix of sun and cloud. All right, that's a full look at your forecast for this Tuesday. Now we'll check in with Callum.
Thanks, Suzette. The time is 8:16, and reaction continues to pour in the wake of the U.S. capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. He appeared in a New York courthouse yesterday, pleading not guilty to the charges used by American officials to justify his capture. This morning, though, questions remain about who is actually running the country and how this development will impact Canadians. CTV's Joy Melvin explains.
An extraordinary moment. Venezuela's former president and his wife, Celia Flores, handcuffed and escorted by officers, appearing in a U.S. federal court charged with narco-terrorism, cocaine importation, and weapons offenses. Nicolas Maduro defiantly telling the judge in Spanish, "I was captured at my home in Caracas, Venezuela. I am innocent. I am not guilty. I am still the president of my country." As many question, was the U.S. military strike even legal? Some demonstrators outside the courthouse cheered President Trump for bringing down a brutal dictator. Others pleaded no more war.
There is no war against Venezuela or its people. We are not occupying a country. This was a law enforcement operation.
The U.S. strike condemned at an emergency meeting at the United Nations, including by some U.S. allies.
The Charter enshrines the prohibition of the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state.
Still, President Donald Trump's not backing down.
We're going to run it, fix it. We'll have elections at the right time.
Insisting America will tap into Venezuela's rich oil supply, warning Maduro's acting president Delcy Rodriguez to cooperate or else.
If they don't behave, we will do a second strike.
And boldly issuing new threats against Mexico, Greenland, and Colombia, now beefing up its military on the Venezuelan border.
Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long.
The White House says its actions are justified. As for Maduro, he calls himself a prisoner of war in what's expected to be a lengthy trial. If convicted, he could face life behind bars.
Okay, thanks for that, CTV's Joy Melvin. North of the border, Chrystia Freeland has announced she will resign her seat in the House of Commons in the coming weeks. This coming after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced her appointment on social media yesterday. Freeland shared in a post that she welcomes the opportunity to contribute as an economic advisor to President Zelensky on an unpaid basis. Okay, it's time now for a quick break, but stay with us on this Tuesday morning for our latest pet talk. That's coming up.
Move Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Weekday mornings on Move 100. The most fun in the morning. And home of the $1,000 minute. Only on Move 100 Halifax.
Welcome back. It's 8:22 and time for Pet Talk. Now, traveling can be challenging when you have pets for a number of reasons. So if you have upcoming travel plans, you're looking to make sure your pets are well taken care of, well, this next interview might relate to you. Jolly Tails Resort might offer some solutions for you. It's a local company that offers boarding, daycare, grooming, and more. So here to tell us more is Sarah Marknet, of the Doggy Daycare Supervisor, actually, at Jolly Tails over on Lady Hammond Road. Good morning, Sarah. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So nice to talk about different options. So you've got different options of how to keep your pet well taken care of for different times. What sort of services actually do you offer at Jolly Tails?
So we have boarding, we have daycare, grooming, training. Our extensive retail is really good for options for things that your dog can enjoy as well. But our daycare and boarding are very big.
Okay, so that is like a place where people can bring their pets and you take care of them for them. Let's talk first about the daycare, because I know you're the daycare supervisor. Do people bring their dogs to daycare every day or just a few times a week?
There are some that come every day. Yep, our regulars, yeah.
Why wouldn't you bring your dog to daycare?
Why wouldn't?
Why would you?
Why would? Oh, yeah, it's great, honestly, if you have a lot of pent-up energy. It's a good way for your dog to socialize, get that out throughout the day. Get a really tired pup at the end of it.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's good for social dogs. There we have some dogs at daycare. Ooh, all breeds. It's an all breeds party. We love this. It actually looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they go outside all year round, it looks like.
Yeah, they have access in and out. Yeah.
What kind of dog would be a not suitable candidate for daycare?
Any dog that struggles with being around other dogs in a fearful or not so friendly way, we wouldn't think it would be the best suit for them. Stress is something that you can build onto. So if your dog is a little bit stressed, we can work on that. But basically, if your dog just isn't a fan of other dogs, then that's your biggest hiccup there.
Okay, perfect. Well, I guess if people are interested in daycare, they work with you and you assess the dogs. I know we had a dog once, and she got along with everybody, but there was a thorough screening process.
Yes.
Let's talk about boarding. So that would be overnight care for pets, right?
Yeah.
That's something you offer at some Jolly Tails locations. What happens when you board a pet?
So they have. They stay overnight, obviously, and then you've got they stay in like their little rooms. They still get like their continued like 24/7 care at that point as well, but you have somebody monitoring them throughout the night. It's a place that they can go if you are away, but can't bring them with you. It's really good when you have like a trained person to take care of your pet in those kind of cases.
For sure. So at Jolly Tails, can you board potentially any breed or size of dog?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, amazing. Yeah. What sort of dog would not be a good candidate for boarding?
If your dog is overly stressed, you're going to want to consider if that would be the best solution for them. They are in big groups of dogs. They are away at night. So I would just say, honestly, if your dog is not good with that kind of scenario, then maybe. But overall, there's definitely things that we offer that can make it easier for them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we use again, there's a screening process to make sure that it's a good fit for them. So I think ideally the reason people might board a dog is because if they don't like traveling, it's an option where they can be just cared for in one spot. For sure. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming in, Sarah.
Thank you.
And good luck with everything in 2026.
Thanks to you as well.
We put all kinds of information about Jolly Tails on our website if you want to check that out. In the meantime, we'll head over to a 3-day forecast.
Thank you so much, Crystal. All right, taking a look at your 3-day forecast. We'll start with New Brunswick. Today, -7, mainly cloudy, but tomorrow, the snow coming in. 0 degrees, your daytime highs. Southern parts of the province, though, will see a rain and freezing rain and snow mix with a special weather statement in effect. Meteorologist Kayla Mitchell will have more on that. And then Thursday, it's going to be 0, mix of sun and cloud before the cold temperatures come again. Nova Scotia, very similar here temperature-wise, 0 today. Flurries for southern and western parts of the province, mainly cloudy. Rain moves in tomorrow in Nova Scotia, a high of 5. And then Thursday, sun and cloud for Nova Scotia, 1 degree. And on Prince Edward Island today, -5, mainly cloudy, snow rain mix on Wednesday, a high of 3. And then Thursday, 1 degree with a mix of sun and cloud. All right, it is 8:27. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we're having a little trouble with your mic, Callum. We'll fix that up. But yeah, we are looking at talking to Kita Beauty coming up, talking about skincare in winter and making it better. Put your best face forward in 2026.
Good morning, Atlantic, Canada. It is 8:30 on this Tuesday. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. Hopefully your coffee cup is either empty now, maybe you're refilling it, and hanging out with us for our last 30 minutes of the show, just like that.
The time has flown by. Did we fix your mic, Callum?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, if you need to, there it is. Why don't you just step off? Donna will help you out there. We'll get it fixed up. In the meantime, let's talk about winter skincare. Are you going to do anything new this year?
Well, you know what? I've debated looking into some microneedling.
Interesting. I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah, I would too. I've been reading about it. I have a friend who does it, so I'm interested in that.
Well, certainly I've been pumping up the moisturizer because when you look outside, you can see that it can be quite dry and cold out there these days.
Oh, it really can. Oh, yeah, you said it. Moisturizing is our best friend this time of year, Crystal. Absolutely. Beautiful live look. It's Cape Smoky, Nova Scotia right now. Isn't that absolutely stunning? Look at that image, picture perfect. So fortunate to have such beautiful areas here in the Maritimes and Atlantic Canada. Absolutely. All right, let's take a look at our satellite radar right now and see how the day is shaping up across the region. A few flurries over parts of southwestern Nova Scotia, Halifax area. Going to see some flurries today, Corner Brook as well. A few flurries in the forecast there. But let's take a look at where our current temperatures sit right now at 8:30 on your Tuesday. -2 in Yarmouth, -17 in Bathurst, -12 in Charlottetown, -11 in Sydney, -8 in St. John's, -8 in Corner Brook, and -29 in Lab City. Now the feel-like temperature, that wind chill, -13 in St. John, -15 in Moncton, -16 in Charlottetown, -9 in Halifax. To Newfoundland and Labrador, the feel-like temperature, that wind chill, -15 in St. John's, -23 in St. Anthony, and -30 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Do keep in mind frostbite if you have any exposed body parts and skin showing. Within 30 minutes, frostbite can start to occur because that wind chill is so frigid. All right, one full look at the forecast is coming up later in our show, but right now, Callum has your news headlines.
Thanks, Suzette. The time is 8:32. A high-profile murder trial is set to begin in Moncton today. Jansen Brian Baker is accused of killing 74-year-old Rosemary Saulnier and her 78-year-old husband, Bernard Saulnier, back in 2019. 4 years later, Baker was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. A jury was selected over the weekend, with opening statements expected today. A Nova Scotia youth who admitted to assaulting 2 security guards at the hospital in Truro last spring was handed a year's probation yesterday. The boy, who was 16 at the time, threw a bottle of bleach at the guards, striking one in the face. Back in November, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of assault with a weapon. He was handed 12 months of probation with conditions. A Dartmouth woman is facing animal cruelty charges after an investigation by the provincial SPCA. The agency says it investigated several complaints of animal abuse during appointments at a grooming facility in Dartmouth. 39-year-old Lorraine Murphy has been charged with 4 counts of causing distress under the Animal Protection Act. She's scheduled to face a judge in March. A lack of childcare spaces continues to cause stress for parents around our region. For some, the situation is getting increasingly desperate. Here's CTV's Jonathan McGinnis.
Bonnie Minard is the executive director of the Portland Daycare Center in Dartmouth. Her 91 spaces are spoken for.
Accessibility is unfortunately not great.
She has a wait list, but parents could be on it for years, especially those waiting for spots for infants.
I have 8 infant spaces. My wait list for infants is 385. So when you look at how many people are actually going to get a spot, you know, it's disheartening for families that, you know, have put their name on the list for years that may never get in.
I would apply as soon as you find out you're pregnant.
That still wouldn't have been soon enough for Josie Tulane, whose first child is now 8 months old, and her maternity leave is almost up.
I can't live on one income for like another year, so it's very stressful, and I'm like trying to figure out what to do. Where can I leave my child, right?
Minard has been trying to open more spots at her daycare for years. As for what it would take to make that happen,
permission from the government, funding. We would definitely be interested. We have expressed interest previously.
a recent study from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives says the provincial government has met funding targets in a bilateral agreement with the feds, but there are challenges when it comes to issues like affordable fees and enough regulated childcare spaces. One of the authors of the report says extra funding for childcare should be in the next provincial budget, and that every dollar spent on childcare has a return on investment of up to $6. Jonathan McGinnis, CTV News, Dartmouth.
It's turned out to be a busy week for Halifax water crews who've responded to nearly a dozen water main breaks. The utility says the spike is seasonal and not unusual. Officials say the winter freeze-thaw cycles put extra stress on aging infrastructure, especially cast iron pipes installed decades ago. Some pipes still in service today are between 50 and 100 years old, especially in the urban area. 6 of the last 10 water breaks occurred in Halifax and a couple others in Dartmouth.
Once the frost starts getting into the ground, you're typically the number of water main breaks and repairs that are required does increase. From year over year, our average is about 222 breaks a year.
The utility says it is on target to hit that ballpark number this year, suggesting part of this year's 17.6% rate increase will go toward maintaining and replacing aging pipes. The average emergency water main repair costs nearly $6,000. Finally, people who live in a Bedford neighborhood are keeping a close watch for a deer that quite literally can't shake the Christmas spirit. A number of people have spotted the young buck with Christmas lights wrapped around his antlers. Several people have expressed concerns about the animal, but experts say nature tends to take care of the problem in due time.
If the garbage isn't impeding their ability to eat, especially when it's around their antlers, those antlers will drop probably in February or early March, and hopefully all of that stuff will fall off with them.
Hopefully indeed. Hope Swinimer says that option is preferable to cornering and tranquilizing the animal, which can sometimes be dangerous or even deadly.
Thanks for that, Callum. Last news of the day. All right, let's have a little fun here. Let's go diving into some water to play chess.
There we go.
Imagine. Yeah, it can be a challenging game on land, but underwater even more so. Here we go. Taking the plunge. The world champion has been crowned for chess diving. 40 players participated in this game at the bottom of a pool in the Netherlands. So they breathe and they dive down, and the game is played on a weighted board. They're magnetic boards too. So we'll check this out. Would you do this?
I just think it would be so hard to figure out, to really get a good look at the board, you know, figuring out what the move your opponent's made, right? And making the right choice, you know, depending on how long you can hold your breath for underwater, right?
And you have to be thinking. To me, I'm only thinking about holding my breath and, you know, not staying under too long.
Relax.
Yeah, right?
This person is. This person definitely did well.
How do they know?
How is he holding his breath? Oh, there we go.
Just pondering the next move.
Wild. Personally, I'm not the most patient person in the world. Chess isn't the game for me, but I'd love to go for a swim.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
You saw the difference in those two in the last shot there. One just casually chilling there, pondering the next move, and the other just down and up. And
Exactly.
that would be me.
Wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, not happening in our region. No, that is not happening in our region.
But there is stuff happening in our region. Of course, we always have wonderful community events. All right, this sounds fun. The Moncton Burger Festival returns this week, and it's tastier than ever. January 9th to the 31st, 60 local restaurants will take part in and around Moncton, and you can enjoy tasty burger creations. Why not eat your way through the city while supporting local? I love it, and it's also making me hungry because I haven't eaten yet. Looking for a new activity to take part in? Yes, well, you can check out the senior art activities at the Confederation Center of the Arts from January 8th until May 7th. You can discuss and explore diverse works of current exhibitions, enjoy refreshments, and a relaxed art and craft session. The event runs from 10 to 12. For additional details, just visit their website, confederationcenter.com. And the Mahone Bay Center will open for badminton Wednesday, January 7th from 7 to 8 p.m. You can drop in and enjoy a game. Equipment will be available at the center. And for more information or for other events taking place, just visit their website, exploremodl.ca. And if you have an upcoming event, flea market, concert, community supper, we want to hear all about it. You can put every announcement. We can't put everything on air, but we want to know what's going on. So email us, yourmorningatlantic@ctv.ca. Good morning, Atlantic Canada. Here is a live snowy look from Peggy's Cove, Nova Scotia this morning. It's beautiful, but it certainly is cold. Some flurries falling as well, and no one there this time of day, but it certainly is picture perfect. Good morning to everyone tuning in today. We're so happy to have you with us. Let's take a look at our satellite radar. You can see a few flurries on the radar over parts of southwestern Nova Scotia, over Corner Brook as well. Let's talk about the conditions today in New Brunswick. There is mainly cloudy skies in the forecast for you and light winds, with daytime highs reaching -6 in Fredericton, -9 in Campbellton, 1 on Grand Manan, 1 in St. John. The weather really looking different tomorrow with that special weather statement in effect, bringing a mix of snow, rain, and ice pellets to freezing rain to southern parts of the province. Again, meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell will have much more in-depth look on that weather system. For Prince Edward Island today, increasing cloudiness throughout the day, -4 in Charlottetown, -5 in Summerside, southerly winds at 20, -3 in Surrey. For Cape Breton Island and parts of mainland Nova Scotia, -6 in Shetty Camp, -4 in Sydney, -1 in Truro, -1 in Sheet Harbour, where you're going to see some flurries today. Southwesterly winds are at 20. And for Halifax and southwestern Nova Scotia, flurries in the forecast for you, 2 to 4 centimeters. Southeasterly winds at 20, gusting to 40 around the noon hour. 1 in Middleton, 1 in Bridgewater, 2 in the Tri-Counties, Digby, Yarmouth, and Shelburne, 0 in Kentville, 1 in Halifax. For Newfoundland and Labrador, in St. John's, flurries today, -2, -6 in Gander, sunshine in the forecast, -6 in Corner Brook. There are flurries. As we move further north, -15 in Happy Valley Goose Bay with sunshine in the forecast, but don't let the sun fool you. It's certainly quite cold out there. And -18 in Lab City with a mix of sun and cloud. All right, that's your final look at the forecast for this Tuesday. Now we'll check in with Crystal.
Thanks, Suzette. It's 8:45. Now, with the new year comes resolutions, and we often focus on healthy skin and updating your skin care. If that's something on your list, well, we got some great suggestions for you this morning. Holistic skincare is helping to redefine beauty as a ritual through intentional education and healing experiences. And Kita Beauty is a Halifax-based holistic skincare studio with licensed esthetician and founder Hawa Soare joining us to share ways we can elevate our winter skincare routine. Thank you so much for coming in, Hawa. Great to see you again.
I'm so happy to be here, Crystal.
It's such a pleasure to have you in. I know your approach to skincare is holistic. Explain how you do things a little bit differently at your studio.
Yeah, so at Kita Beauty, it's very important for us to incorporate the entire body as a whole. We don't only focus on topical products, but we focus on internal health, lifestyle, emotional well-being, and how that all impacts the skin. It's very important important for us to make sure every service is personalized to each person, because every person and every skin type is different. So at Cato Beauty, we do take time to give complimentary skin consultations where we take around 30 to 45 minutes just answering all of your questions, ensuring that you do feel heard, cared for, and that we can create a tailored program, service for you so that you can ultimately reach your skincare goals.
We're seeing some images of people getting different kinds of facials. I know you offer all kinds of different sorts of facials. Before we get into the winter skincare, is there a particular facial you wanted to talk about right now?
Well, our most popular facial is our signature lymphatic drainage facial. So it has all of the doings of your normal facial. We have a double cleanse, exfoliation. We also incorporate targeted serums, and we really focus on repairing the skin's barrier. But we also, again, focus on lymphatic drainage, right? Lymphatic drainage is very important to help remove toxins. It helps to improve blood circulation, reduce inflammation and puffiness. So sometimes we do feel a little bit sluggish. So when we do incorporate that lymphatic drainage into our services, it does enhance the overall well-being of your skin.
Sounds like the perfect thing in the winter. So you brought in some products right now to kind of talk about how you do things a little bit differently in winter. What did you bring in today?
So today we brought in the Calming Skin Booster, and we brought in the Derma Primer Peel Booster Pads, and we also brought in the Morning Moist Foaming Cleanser. Okay. So with the Calming Booster, that is really important in the winter because the winter can be extremely drying. And with dry skin, you can experience flakiness, irritation, itchiness, right? So the Calming Booster is really helpful. It has hyaluronic acid that works as a humectant to lock in the moisture. And it also has healing botanicals like rosemary. It has cica as well, which helps to soothe and calm the skin. The Derma Priming Peel Booster helps to exfoliate the skin. So we do need to exfoliate during the winter time, even if you do have dry skin, but you just don't want to overdo it. It's very important that you don't. That helps to alleviate that dead skin, and it gives you a really, really nice glow, very popular for clients. And then the cleanser really helps to balance that pH. So if you're somebody that doesn't like to have a 10-step routine, you can have that cleanser, opt out of a toner, and help to really gently cleanse your skin.
We love that, keeping things simple. Well, I know that you use these products during your facials, but you also have them for sale as well. How about whatever you're having, I'll have. You are glowing today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much, Crystal.
It is such a pleasure to have you. And we put all the information about Cato Beauty on our website, so you can check it out for yourself. It's 8:49, time for our last break. We'll be back to wrap up the show after this. Look at
#1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
All right, let's take a final look at your 3-day forecast. Starting in New Brunswick today, -7, mainly cloudy skies for you. Calm before the storm, if you will, because tomorrow snow's moving into New Brunswick, and a special weather statement has been issued by Environment Canada for southern parts of the province, bringing snow, rain, and a freezing rain mix that'll start Wednesday morning into Thursday. Meteorologist Kayla Mitchell will certainly have more in depth on that. And then Thursday, some relief in New Brunswick, 0 and a mix of sun and cloud. In Nova Scotia today, flurries and mainly cloudy, depending where you are, 0 degrees. 5 tomorrow in Nova Scotia, rain moving in to Nova Scotia and bringing some showers to the region. And then Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud and 1 degree. Nice to see a bit of sunshine. And on Prince Edward Island today, -5, chilly, mainly cloudy, snow or rain mix for the island tomorrow, a high of 3. And on Thursday, 1 degree with a mix of sun and cloud for Prince Edward Island. So after that mix, all 3 provinces will see a bit of sun.
Okay. Well, it's interesting to see the temperature fluctuations.
Yeah, big time.
Nice to see it warm up a little bit,
Yep.
generally speaking, too, right? That's good.
But not too much, so you can
Exactly.
still go skiing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, let's talk about our Move Morning Chat.
Right, and today we're asking, what are you excited about that has you counting down the days? Let's take a look. 29 days until my 51st birthday. That's from Candace in Cape Breton. Happy birthday in advance, Candace.
Ooh.
I'm counting down the days to my birthday. 2 more days, says Mo in Bathurst.
It's Mo's week, everybody.
coming up.
Exciting.
Very exciting.
And this person's getting ahead of it early. I'm counting down to Christmas 2026.
Oh my
wow,
gosh.
that's just a little far away, but I appreciate looking ahead.
You know what? You can. Is it really ever too early to start?
This is what
I'm joking. It's way too early.
That is a Christmas lover.
I mean, fair enough. And I mean, for me, I'm always way too late to the game when it comes to Christmas planning. So maybe I should follow Mo's lead and kind of get
I
ahead.
think like summer. Start shopping slightly in summertime.
Okay, 2 questions. First of all, I was thinking about you. Do you have the trees and decorations down, or do you keep them up?
No, we do. We started taking them down before return to work.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to anything, Callum?
Next month, a couple of buddies and I are getting together in Montreal. So looking forward to that trek.
Will there be a hockey game?
I hope so, but I think we're skiing. You're talking about skiing, so we're going to go to Montreal. So looking forward to that for sure.
Gosh. What about you, Suzette?
Oh, I think I'll be going to the Mediterranean in the fall. So, yeah, we have a cruise booked. So that'll be fun. It's still a ways away, not till October, but you can still daydream of those days, soaking up some Greek sunshine.
Oh, my gosh.
What about you?
A trip to look forward to. The trip in Florida to go see my mom. That's going to be really fun next month. Really fun. I did it last year in February. It really broke up the winter.
Yeah, smart.
It's a luxury to get away, because it's a plane ticket. When we get down
Good for
there,
you.
we just kind of live our lives, and that's wonderful. But yeah, having a trip to look forward to if you're in that boat is a great thing.
Yep, absolutely.
I like the excitement of just when I book tickets to go to the Mooseheads or to the Thunderbirds.
Yep.
That's fun because you look forward to something happening on the weekend, or if you have a friend's birthday coming up or a family member's birthday coming. There's always something fun to look forward to. It doesn't have to be big.
Yeah.
Just something fun to look forward to with loved ones.
For sure. Something I love about this show is we take you all over the world virtually. Let's take a trip to Spain, shall we? Let's go for a little dog walking event in Spain's capital. And this is fun. Oh, yeah. Okay. There we go. Pups and their humans took over the streets for the traditional walk, raising awareness about animal abandonment. It's the 15th edition of the Festive Dog Walk, an annual friendly tradition of, it's actually this, I was wrong. It's actually in Brazil. I was wrong. This is in Brazil. I just pulled these images up because I thought it would be fun.
It's adorable.
It is a little bit festive, so we got to put it away, but I thought it is a chance to look at some cute dogs in costumes one more time before we close the doors on the festive stuff until next fall.
A Grinch costume.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice. Good
Can't
stuff.
beat it.
You can't beat it.
Yeah, some people, I guess, keeping their tree up till today.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, my wife and I, we need to look at taking ours down pronto because it's been deprived of water for the last little bit. So the branch are already starting to droop a little bit, and we just worry about the safety risks there.
Does
So
your cat like to hang out in the tree?
oh, absolutely loves the tree.
Yeah.
Loves the tree. We found a spray that kind of keeps her away, keeps her at bay. So that's been a lifesaver because otherwise it's a headache.
Well, many of our viewers who celebrate the Orthodox tradition will be celebrating their Christmas today.
Nice.
So, congratulations. Merry Christmas to you. And yeah, that's the end of our show on this Tuesday. So have a great day, everybody.
Thanks so much. Take care.